Kamet is dark, and you have no walls, no door, no lock, no roof. You do not even have shoes. And 40 meters away, something with claws the length of your fingers is deciding whether you are dinner. This was not a nightmare. This was an ordinary night for almost every human who ever lived before about 10,000 years ago. For the vast majority of our story, we were not the top of the food chain. We were somewhere in the middle of the menu between the antelope and the wild pig. We were soft. We were slow. We had no fangs, no claws, no armor, no venom. By every rule of nature, we should have been an easy meal, and then a forgotten one, and yet here we are. 8 billion of us came, so how? Did a naked, clawless, slow-moving ape survive a world built to eat it? The answer is not what you think, and it ends with the single most disturbing fact in the history of life on this planet. Let us start by being honest about just how badly the odds were stacked against us. Because the cartoon version of the caveman is a lie. He is drawn as a rugged, muscular hero wrestling a lion for sport. The reality at the beginning was closer to a frightened primate hiding in the dark. Go back 2.5 million years. Early members of our genus were small, fragile, their brains still only half the size of ours. No fire, no real weapons, no language, no plan. Biologically, we were simply prey. Full stop. And the predators we shared the land with were not the lions and leopards you know today. They were worse. Much worse. Picture a hyena the size of a lion, with jaws that could crack an elephant's thigh bone like a breadstick. That animal was real. Its name was Pachycrocuta, and it hunted the same ground we did. There were saber-toothed cats with canine teeth as long as your hand. There were cave bears that stood 12 feet tall on their hind legs. There were cave lions, larger than any lion alive today, that denned in the exact shelters we needed. Now, you will often hear that we also swam with a giant shark, Megalodon. We did not. Megalodon vanished more than 3 million years before our kind existed, and getting details like that right is the whole point of this channel. The real monsters were terrifying enough without inventing extra ones, and we lived right in the middle of them, usually near water, which was a problem, because water is exactly where every predator waits. They all figured out the same trick. Sit by the water and the food walks to you. So every single day, early humans walked straight into the most dangerous place in the landscape on purpose, because they had no choice. So how did we not simply vanish in the first 100,000 years? The first answer sounds almost too simple to be true. We stayed together. Think about it from the predator's side. You are a saber-toothed cat at dusk. You see a lone human at the water's edge. Easy. Now you see 25 humans, and some of them are already screaming, picking up rocks and walking toward you. Suddenly, the antelope over the hill looks like a much better idea. Part of this is pure mathematics. It is called the dilution effect. In a group of 25, the odds that you are the one who gets taken drop to almost nothing. You do not have to be fast. You do not have to be strong. You just have to not be the unlucky one. But it was more than numbers. Groups fight back. Just like chimpanzees still do today, early humans learned to mob a predator together. Not one brave hero against a lion. That is suicide. A wall of screaming bodies, flying rocks, and noise coming from every direction at once. And here is the thing. Almost no one understands about big predators. They almost never actually want a fight. A lion with a wounded shoulder is a lion that cannot hunt, and a lion that cannot hunt starves. At the top of the food chain, the margin for injury is razor thin. So a predator does the math too, and it wants one thing: an easy, clean, low-risk kill. Take that away. And it simply turns and looks for something safer. The humans who stood their ground together lived. The ones who scattered did not. Natural selection is a merciless teacher, but it makes its point. And then came the thing that changed everything. Fire. You have heard that fire mattered 1,000 times. But I want you to understand exactly why it broke the predator problem in half, because almost every large predator on Earth is born terrified of fire. This is not learned, it is burned into the nervous system across millions of years. These animals evolved in a world where fire meant lightning and wildfire and volcanoes, a force nothing could fight or predict. So when a predator meets fire, it does not feel curiosity, it feels retreat. Picture a leopard stalking a sleeping group in the dark. It approaches. It feels the heat from 40 meters out. It sees the light, and that light has just stolen its greatest weapon, the darkness. Now everything near the flames can see it coming. Something ancient in its brainstem starts screaming, and it turns around. Night had been the deadliest time to be human, because that is when the hunters move. Fire made the night survivable. People slept in shifts. Someone always watched the flames. Someone always watched the dark. And fire did more than hold back claws. Its smoke drove off the mosquitoes and flies whose diseases killed more humans than any lion ever did. Its heat-cooked food, killing the parasites that would have quietly ended thousands of lives. It hardened the tips of wooden spears into something genuinely lethal. Before fire, we were something the world happened to. After fire, we began happening to the world. But before fire was reliable, our ancestors faced a nightly problem we rarely think about: sleep. We spend 1/3 of our lives unconscious, unable to run, unable to fight for an animal with no walls in a world of night hunters. That is a staggering weakness. So what did they do? They climbed. Long before settlements, the answer to the night was simply to get off the ground. Cave chimpanzees still build a fresh sleeping nest in the trees every single night. Our ancestors almost certainly did the same, and their shoulders kept the anatomy of skilled climbers long after their feet were built for walking. Evolution does not pay to keep an expensive tool you have stopped using. A tree did not make you safe from everything. Leopards climb, and we have found our ancestors' bones in their treetop kill sites, but a tree erased lions, hyenas, and wolves from the list of things that could reach you in the dark. Then there were caves, and caves were a devil's bargain. A cave gives you one entrance to defend, shelter from the cold, a fortress of stone. Came. The problem is that a cave is exactly what a cave bear, a cave hyena, and a cave lion also want. Moving into a cave often meant moving into someone else's home, someone large, established, and deeply unhappy about the new tenants. The archaeological record is full of caves that humans and predators traded back and forth for thousands of years, the worst timeshare in history. Now we reach the turn in the whole story, the moment the fear began to change direction because everything so far kept us alive. What comes next made us dangerous, and it started with something you would never expect: talking, complex, symbolic language. The power to describe a thing that is not in front of you. Think about what that does to survival. Without language, every single human has to meet a danger in person to learn it. A child who has never seen a leopard has to discover the hard way that leopards kill, and that lesson is usually brief and final. The knowledge dies with the body. With language, everything changes. You can describe the yellow coat and the black spots to someone who has never seen them. You can say, if you find tracks shaped like this, go the other way. You can warn the whole group. You can warn the neighboring group. You can warn people who will not be born for 100 years by teaching a child who teaches their child. Knowledge stops dying. It starts to accumulate. Came over generations. A group's map of its predators grows far beyond anything one person could ever learn in a lifetime. The predators had claws and speed and strength. We had knowledge that never stopped growing. And in the long run, that is not a fair fight. Then we crossed one final line. We stopped only defending and started attacking. The oldest known wooden spears are around 400,000 years old, found at Schöningen in Germany, and they are not sharpened sticks. They are engineered, weighted toward the front for balance, shaped by someone who understood the physics of a throw without a word for physics. Yeah. Here is what the spear truly changed. Came before it. To hurt a predator, you had to be close enough for it to hurt you, and that is a trade you usually lose. A thrown spear breaks that rule. Now you can wound, even kill, from 30 or 40 meters away without ever entering the reach of the claws. And predators learn. A lion that takes a spear in the flank does not need a second lesson to decide this prey is not worth it. Generation after generation, predators near humans learn to avoid us. The fear slowly and permanently reversed. Ecologists have a name for the invisible thing that shifted here. The landscape of fear. Every prey animal carries a hidden map, not just of where the predators are, but of where they might be. Camia gazelle avoids certain valleys, certain water holes, certain hours based on a constant private calculation of risk. Fear does not just make prey run, it shapes how they move through their entire world. Ancient humans built this same map, but they did something no other animal on Earth could do. They shared it, and they let it grow across generations. This valley is safe in summer, but the bears come down in winter. This waterhole belongs to the lions after the dry season begins. This trail has fresh leopard marks go around. And slowly, over thousands of years, we stopped merely reading the landscape of fear. We began to rewrite it, driving predators out with fire, killing them at their dens, taking their territory for ourselves. There is one more secret weapon, and it is hidden inside your own ordinary body. On paper, we are laughably unimpressive. A lion sprints at 60 kilometers an hour. The fastest human alive manages 45 for about 10 seconds and then collapses. But now ask that lion to jog at a steady pace through 4 hours of afternoon heat. It cannot. It will die of heat stroke long before you will. Humans are one of the only animals on Earth built for persistence hunting, running prey to collapse across vast distances in the heat. We sweat across nearly our entire skin. Most mammals cannot. They cool down by panting, which means they have to slow down or stop. We can run and cool at the same time, which is genuinely bizarre for a mammal. Add an upright stride that sips energy where a four-legged gallop burns it, and you get an animal that can simply outlast almost anything alive. We are, in the most literal sense, endurance machines. Ugly, slow, soft endurance machines that keep going long after everything faster is given up. By around 50,000 years ago, something extraordinary had happened. Fully modern language, layered societies, symbolic thought, real, long-range planning. Cave paintings that were not decoration, but records, sharing what lived where and what to fear, needles, rope, hooks, traps, tools that required imagining a future days or weeks away. And now, we were not just fending off single attacks, we were driving whole herds off cliffs with fire and noise, clearing territories, and deliberately hunting the great predators that had once hunted us. The bones from this period tell the story plainly. Cave lions, cave bears, and other apex predators, killed with intent, their remains processed, sometimes treated as trophies. It was a statement written in bone. We are not prey anymore, and that brings us to the disturbing way this story ends. Came because the tale of how we survived the predators is also the tale of what became of them. The saber-toothed cat, gone. The cave lion, the cave bear, the dire wolf, the elephant-jawed hyena, gone. The woolly mammoth, the giant ground sloth, the great Irish elk, gone. On nearly every continent within a few thousand years of modern humans arriving, the giants collapsed. The pattern is too consistent, too tied to our arrival, to be an accident. Climate played a part, but we were the one variable that appeared in every region, at every time, right before the end. Animals that had ruled their world for millions of years, that had survived ice ages and volcanic winters, could not survive us. Came, not because we were bigger or faster or stronger, we were none of those things, but because we had fire and spears and language and a store of knowledge that grew faster than evolution could ever adapt. The predators never understood what they were dealing with. They just learned far too late to be afraid.